Hey guys, CryptoDad here again, and welcome to the live Q&A in LA every Friday night, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thanks for joining me. Let's kick things off. All right, thanks for joining me tonight. I see a couple of people already posted a couple of comments. I was a bit late getting started. I noticed the 6:01 ticked off before I actually made it live, and I'm usually right on the dot at 6. So, Shahid, I apologize. Maya, thanks for joining me. S. Hervey, 617, good to see you guys. Johnny Hayes, Celtic FC fan. So, by the way, guys, my streaming status, whoops, there we go. My streaming status says bad, so if it is bad, let me know, and I can reboot, but usually it's fine, and I just get this weird readout. We don't need that one. All right, so yeah, anybody just throw it up there if the stream looks choppy or the resolution is bad, just let me know. All right, wow, so a lot of people joined today. Good, it's good to see you. I thought maybe we'd all be crawling into holes, but I'm not, and I guess I shouldn't expect any of you to. Or maybe you just showed up to see how I would interpret all the things that happened in the last week. Let's start with the big news. Here we go. Oh, I was over here. Bitcoin hits another low. Bitcoin Cash is down almost 50% on the week. So we're looking at some pretty, as far as the market goes, the cryptocurrency market, things aren't looking too good. You know, today. You know, and we'll look at this here. Everything was down earlier today. I believe this article was written, I'm not sure, six hours ago. And as you can see, there's a bit of a bounce. It's back up to 43.99, like about 4,400, whereas the low was around 41, maybe a little less than 41. It depends on what exchange. Some of the exchanges, maybe, I don't know, maybe they were below 4. I don't know. But according to CoinMarketCap, the current price is around 44, and things look to be a bit on the upswing. But that tends to happen as, you know, markets go down. I'm not a big market guy, but we could see things lower. We could stick around this way for a while. Things could go back up. But that's what we're dealing with today. You know, we're dealing with a tough week for those of you who thought you were going to get rich by buying cryptocurrency this year. It's even a tough week for those of us who were like buying on dips this year, thinking, oh, you know, things are going to go back up. But it's not really a bad week altogether for the technology itself. There's a lot of good news, things that are happening adoption-wise that are good signs. Also, another thing I wanted to mention that just sort of, it was like a gut punch. Find a news story on that. Yeah, Bakkt. Now I was anticipating, as maybe a lot of you were, this new company Bakkt that was going to be launching their platform, their futures platform, in December, and then right after this huge market crash was in full swing, they, you know, to make matters worse, they announced that they were going to postpone their launch till January. We don't know if that had anything to do with the market conditions. They claimed it had to do with just the technology of getting everything up and running. But it could very well have been that they felt it was based on the current market, it was probably a bad idea to launch. But they're not folding up. There's no way they're folding up. They just decided to postpone their launch. But that was just more bad news for Bitcoin in general over the last week. Now, Johnny Hayes, always the cheerleader. I appreciate it, Johnny. Happy Thanksgiving, William. Have I ever done a video on storing XRP from an Uphold account to a Ledger Nano S? No, I've never done a transfer video from what was that? I've never done a transfer video on transferring XRP from an Uphold account to a Ledger Nano S, but it's not that difficult. Uphold is it's kind of a virtual wallet. I don't, you know, you're allowed to transfer cryptocurrency back and forth, but I think it's kind of a virtual representation. And if you're holding XRP in a wallet in Uphold, there's a way to do a cryptocurrency transfer where it asks you for an address and your Ledger Nano S, of course. If you have the Ripple app or the XRP app on your Ledger Nano S, you can generate a receiving address and transfer from Uphold, just like you would Bitcoin or anything else. And we'll look at that a little bit if you guys want to. Although I ran across this one article that really kind of I had like kind of a gut reaction to it. It kind of PO'd me, and it popped up in a couple. I have, you know, some apps, and I have my Google News, which sort of serves up articles that for things that I've searched for in the past. I don't know if I saw it on there, but this is a guy who's telling people that hold their Bitcoin and their cryptocurrency that they have a problematic mindset. It's almost like saying you've got some sort of mental condition if you're stupid enough to hold on to your cryptocurrency. And, you know, it's basically, you know, he talks about mindsets and, you know, the guy wrote this book, I Will Teach You How to Be Rich. Okay. So, and then he just kind of goes on to say that, you know, people that are doubling down and like buying this dip are, you know, are stuck in this mindset that is harmful, I guess, is the... so it kind of really bothered me that, and a lot of us here are investors, right? They want to make money. They're investing in this. Even if they believe in the technology, they feel like if they can get in early and hold, that there will be a payoff in the future. So we're all have our own motivations, but most of us, I would say, are looking to make some kind of return, profit, whatever. Some of the guys, some of you out there that watch my videos and that watch my live stream might just be straight up investors, and you only care about short-term gains, and that's fine. And then a lot of you I know are die-hard cryptocurrency fans, believers in the technology, and you know, we're hodlers, you know. But you know, this article is criticizing that mindset, like there's something wrong with us. So I really took offense to the article. But you know, you kind of have to understand the guy's point of view, and I think his point of view is: does it make money or does it make money for you in the near term, or I guess in the long run too? But and there are people that hold on to stocks too long, stocks like companies, and that's you know, it can happen. It depends on the company. But as far as Bitcoin, you know, it's brand new. It's a emerging technology. It's not one company that could succeed or fail. It's an entire technology that has, you know, just come into existence. It's only been around 10 years since the original Bitcoin came out. So, oh, somebody's got their alarm going. And it could go on for quite a while. We don't know. So anyway, in his particular mindset, he obviously doesn't believe in the technology, and so he's telling people that if you're holding, you know, you're losing money and you should be getting out. But there are a lot of these articles written by people that don't understand cryptocurrency. Now, I'm not saying he doesn't understand cryptocurrency, but I can. There's a lot of articles out there where I can just read their arguments show a fundamental misunderstanding of what cryptocurrency is. So now you know, you'll notice too that if you follow me and you follow the news, we seek out. There's one. That alarm bell means sell. Yeah, sell BTC. If you're seeking out cryptocurrency news on a regular basis, the way I do, I look at. Let's go over here. I have several links here under crypto news. We've got Cointelegraph, CCN, and CoinDesk, which I find to be very good. Very balanced news on the cryptocurrency front for people that are interested in cryptocurrency. You don't see a lot of mainstream coverage all the time, but you do when the market is down. And that's my point, is that, you know, we have to realize that not only is this an emerging technology, it's contrary to the current paradigm, the current mindset, the current powers that be, if you will. You know, we're talking about a monetary system, and we're talking about changing a monetary system, which is one of the most fundamental things to any society or government or culture. And so, yeah, there's going to be a lot of pushback from the average person thinking that you're a nut, to the average mainstream news covering the negatives. So, for example, we've got CNBC, and here's a misrepresentation right here that I noticed right away. Thanks, William May. Our native Southern California. William is back today. You'll notice these bullet points. Bitcoin began its slide. It's down 25%. Last year at this time, it was on its way up. Okay, we get it. And then here we go. Since its peak, the cryptocurrency market has lost about 700 billion in value. Okay, so we're talking about Bitcoin, right? We're talking about Bitcoin tumbling. And then all of a sudden, now they're talking about the broader cryptocurrency market. And that is a distinction. I mean, there are thousands of cryptocurrencies out there. So to throw out this $700 billion number makes the average reader think that Bitcoin has lost 700 billion in value. And that's simply not true. So you'll see a lot of just not very good, clear reporting in these. Now, but I have to say, CNBC is fairly balanced. I think they have some people on their staff that are pretty balanced, right? And then you've also got, like, look at Forbes, you know. This guy here, I am really sick of people saying that cryptocurrency is a scam. You know, there are scammers everywhere. You know, just because there's people trying to con you out of your money doesn't mean that dollar bills are bad, you know. And there's been people trying to con us out of our dollar bills, ever since dollar bills have been in existence. But we're not going to like say that dollar bills are a scam just because that there are scammers out there trying to take you for your money. And that's basically what cryptocurrency is. They didn't invent it to scam people. Bitcoin did not come about to scam people out of their money. We've got dedicated people that are maintaining software, open source software, many different projects going, and they're trying to reach a goal. There are a lot of scams. I mean, there's a lot of ICOs, there's a lot of bad ideas, a lot of half-baked ideas, a lot of out-and-out scam coins. He brings up, I think in this article, he brings up BitConnect. I don't know if it's this article. Oh, yeah, here we go, BitConnect. Now, I mean, last year I knew BitConnect was a scam. I mean, all you had to do was look at it and listen to the, 15 seconds of their commercials. It was obvious scam. But it's not, BitConnect is not Bitcoin. And BitConnect is not even, well, I guess they did have their own coin. But anyway, here's one thing that he mentions in this article. Whatever else one can say that cryptocurrency has accomplished, it has been one of the greatest destroyers of wealth in the financial history of mankind. Well, that's an interesting claim. Can you tell me what the second greatest destroyer of wealth was in the history of mankind? These broad statements that, offer no evidence whatsoever, it's just bashing. That's all it is. They're just Bitcoin bashing. And one nice thing about being involved in cryptocurrency is you learn that you don't have to believe what other people tell you to believe, right? You can read through, this mainstream bashing and see for yourself, that it's biased. Anyway, I won't go too long about that. And then a couple of other bright spots, I guess we could talk about. That Amazon survived an asset bubble, if you'll recall. There was an asset bubble in the early, late 90s, I believe, where the dot-com bubble burst. And the stock price of Amazon was way down. It took quite a while for it to recover, but now Amazon is one of the largest companies ever. And this is, this idea that Amazon had was online retail. And I remember back in the 90s, people just, they just thought I was crazy when I told them that I bought my Christmas gifts online. They said, oh my God, how can you buy anything online? Won't they hack you? Won't they steal your bank account information? Just on and on and on. I mean, now, anybody that says that it's dangerous to buy things online is going to get laughed out of the Facebook chat group he's in, We all accept online retail now. And so down the road, we may think of blockchain and cryptocurrencies as, just something that his time would have come. There was no, we all accept it like we do cell phones, And there may have been a time where, people thought you were crazy for carrying around a cell phone. And now you're crazy if you don't have one. And then another thing that I mentioned that I thought of was that this is the Apple Wikipedia page, the history of Apple. And I used to be a salesperson at an Apple reseller back in the mid-1990s. And this was before the Apple Store, when I was selling Apple computer at this, this retailer. And everybody that walked in would say, hey, I heard Apple's going out of business. I mean, there were seriously, people seriously thought that Apple was going to go bankrupt due to lack of sales and interest and everything else. And, my family members have said to me, why didn't you tell me to buy Apple? I'm like, well, if I'd have told you to buy Apple in the late 90s, you would have thought I was nuts. And, you know, then Steve Jobs came back and they made this Microsoft deal in 1997 where Microsoft invested money in Apple and agreed to, you know, develop the Apple software OS version of Microsoft Office, you know, Word for Mac, Excel for Mac, PowerPoint for Mac. And that was the turning point. And we all know today that Apple is one of the largest companies in the world. So there are a lot of things, ideas, companies, whatnot, that have their downs. And but if you know, you look back now and you say it was inevitable, but back then maybe not so much. Let's see. $30 and crashed down to 2. Yeah. I remember when I was mining Bitcoin that I was mining in 2013 and 14. And I remember that at that point, Bitcoin had peaked at $1,000, around 1,000 in late 2012 or maybe late 2013. I can't remember. But it was down from its high. And I was mining Bitcoin, and I think when I first started mining it, the price was around 400 or 500, and then by the time I got done mining it, it was down around 200, you know. And my dad thought I was a nut, and I was just wasting money with this box that kept humming. And but you know, Bitcoin has been down before, and so. We'll see, right? Let me do a shout out to William. I think he, let's see. He is, oh, wait. There he is. There's William. So I'm in LA, you know, so I have a soft spot for William, and he likes to throw me a tip and listen to the podcast live stream, and I like to give him a little shout out, and I appreciate throwing me a tip. I do. So if you got anything, if you got some, if you're going to move out of cryptos and into real estate, then William is the guy to see. All right. So let's see. Anything else? We knew Bakkt was delayed. I talked about that. We got going down. Oh, this was an interesting article. If you haven't read this article, it's pretty good. It's not totally rational and consistent. I mean, but it's a good viewpoint. All right, we're talking about money here, and she's pretty intelligent. So basically, she just talks about how our monetary system works, and you know, if it would be a good idea if you're into cryptocurrency to investigate how our current monetary system works, to see, you know, give you an idea of what money is and basically why Bitcoin came about. It was the financial crisis of 2008 where people were trusting their money to large centralized banks, and they were putting their trust in these banks, and these banks let them down. You know, sometimes through mismanagement, sometimes through outright fraud. So there is an alternative to the centralized banking paradigm, and Bitcoin is one answer to that. It may not be the answer, but it's a good article to read that explains how money works in our society, and maybe a little bit out there, but you know, interesting article. Thanks, Brian, for hitting like. Let me go through what some people have said here. Danger. Yeah. So, yeah, you're a danger to yourself by buying the dips, right? Let's see. More people need to know about crypto and how it works. Many people are afraid to enter the space. Yeah, I mean, mainstream wise, people are waiting for SEC approval for Bitcoin instruments through large investment firms that they can trust. And that's great. You know, I hope that it will become easier for people to buy and hold Bitcoin. The only thing is, I think a lot of these big firms, they're coming out with their own storage solutions, or what we would call custody services, where they'll say, okay, look, you want Bitcoin, just you can pick up the phone, you can go online, you can buy it from us, and we'll just hold it for you, right? You don't have to figure out how to use a wallet or use a ledger or anything else. Just buy your Bitcoin, we'll hold it for you, and we'll make sure that it's safe. And I think that a lot of these big firms are doing that, and that's sort of taking away from the spirit of what Bitcoin is and what cryptocurrency is. It's a decentralized network where people can exchange value with each other without a third party being necessary at all. Not a bank, not a broker, not anybody. So I can hold Bitcoin on my own wallet, on my own computer, or on my phone, or on my paper or my ledger or whatever. And then if I want to spend it, I can send it to someone else that is willing to accept it. So this whole idea of, you know, the mainstream adoption of Bitcoin involves these big firms that are doing custody service. Well, more power to them. You know, maybe they'll get more people interested in Bitcoin, and they will have to buy and hold Bitcoin. They're not going to be able to just pretend to buy and hold it. At least that's my hope, right? But then once they've let's say they're holding, you know, $1 billion worth of Bitcoin wherever, whatever, they might want to start lending it out. You know, you can get out Bitcoin loans and then try to leverage it the same way they leverage, you know, money. So who knows where that's going to go. My thing is hold Bitcoin in your own wallet and spend it your own way. Okay, so XRP extra rice please is asking me about the multiple ledger question. I'm surprised that so many people are interested in this. I mean, it's the normal person only. It's the rarity for someone to have a ledger, I would assume. But it's interesting that there are so many people out there that have multiple ledgers. I'm happy, and I have to admit, I have a second ledger. I have my Ledger Nano paper edition, the Satoshi birthday edition, but I have not set it up yet, and it takes a while. It takes like 15 or 20 minutes to set up. And we were watching a movie earlier today, the family. We watched Wall-E. If you like Wall-E, it's one of my favorite movies. And my kids had never seen it, or at least my youngest hadn't ever seen it. So we were watching Wall-E, and then when the movie was over, I only had 45 minutes to get the live stream prepared and ready to go. I did not have time to set this up. I promise that I will demonstrate this live next week, and I'll try to get a video out, you know, on how you do this. It's pretty straightforward. It's not as bad as you would think. So let me just sort of walk you through how it would work. I won't run the update now. Too many. All right. So we actually went through this before. So I have this ledger, right? And it has several accounts on there. This ledger has, let's see, I got Bitcoin on here. Where is that Bitcoin? Okay. Ah, here we go. I've even labeled the accounts, all right? So the idea is that I have this ledger is connected, and if I want to access this Bitcoin in this account, right? Look over here, accounts. I have 10 accounts, right? And then this particular account, which I've labeled Bitcoin Ledger 1, is the Bitcoin account that where the private keys are on this ledger. I've designated this one as Ledger 1, right? And now I have this other account over here, Bitcoin Ledger 2. Now we set this one up as I just sort of did it as a faux setup. But basically you would go to accounts, you create a new account, and then you would label it Ledger 2. All right? So if I disconnect this ledger, the private keys for all of these accounts down here, like the private key for this Ethereum wallet, the private key for this Bitcoin wallet, the private key for the Digibyte, they're all on here, right? The private keys are held on the ledger. The cryptocurrency is on the blockchain, right? The ledger just gives you access to the address. Now, if I wanted to set up this ledger, I don't have to reinstall Ledger Live. I can just connect this ledger, set it up, and then once it's connected, I add whatever apps I want. So I would go to Manager and add Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, whatever I want on here. And then I would go to Accounts, right? And I would say, I want to add a new Bitcoin account. And I would hit Continue. Now, what happens at this point is, oh, well, I'm going to have to pretend that I've got the new one attached, right? I'm just going to go ahead and enter the PIN. Ah, pooies. Sorry, guys. Oh, screwed up my PIN. There we go. All right. All right, so now that I have the PIN entered, I'm going to enter the Bitcoin app. Let's assume this is the white one, right? Well, let's do it that way. All right, I'm going to enter the Bitcoin app. And we'll continue. Now, you'll notice that it's synchronizing. What it's doing is it's scanning this ledger for any Bitcoin accounts that might already be on there. Now, as you can see, this particular ledger has a bunch of accounts on it already. And they're based on private keys that got added. All right? So it says there's already an account in here. All right? These Bitcoin Ledger 1 and Ledger 2. Let's do it like this. If I had connected a different ledger, let's say I had this ledger connected, and it shouldn't find any accounts, right? It should just say they should just be empty because I don't have anything on this one yet. And I could hit Add Account. Okay, what did it do? I don't know. I don't know what I did there. Okay, let's try again. Actually, usually down at the bottom, there's like, you could just add an empty account. It used to be. They've probably updated the interface here a little bit. So yeah, it should find the ones that are already there. And then it should allow me to just add a blank one if I want to. Huh. Ah, okay, so there's an empty one here, and it's not going to let me add a new one. So you guys probably never run into this. But if if it were a brand new ledger, it would have shown me one account. And we've done this before, you know. So basically what happened, I don't know, let's see, get rid of this one. All right, I don't need it in there. All right, I'm just trying to keep things clean here. Those are empty accounts that it found. the private key still exists, and the transaction history still exists, but they're empty, so I just don't use them anymore. But let's say that instead of calling this Bitcoin Ledger 2, you can see I hit this little gear. Maybe I should have called this one Bitcoin White, Ledger White, right? This is assuming that I have the Ledger White attached. Now, if I had the Ledger White attached, I could hit receive, and then using the White, I could receive some Bitcoin in there. And then once there was Bitcoin in there, I could send it out. Now, while this White is attached, I'll be able to view the balance of my other cryptocurrency accounts. But if I hit send, it won't work because I need to reattach the ledger that created this account. So I guess long and short of it is you only need, you can have multiple ledgers and they can all be set up in Ledger Live. You just have to go through the process of adding the apps and the accounts, and you need some sort of way to keep them separated so that you know which is which, right? It'll become painfully obvious if you try to send and it doesn't find that account on your ledger, right? But if you just label them mnemonically so that you can keep them straight, then you know, your wife or you can use your multiple ledger with the same copy of Live. Keep in mind, though, you probably don't want to do this if you know you're sharing with someone else in your household and you really would rather they not see your balance. This is not really a good solution. But family members, if everything's out in the open, why not? You know, my wife has a ledger. She could just as easily set up her accounts here. But if you've got two people and they have two ledgers and they each have their own computer, then it makes more sense to just install Live on the two different computers so that things are easier to manage, right? But a lot of people ask me this question, so I'm assuming there's a lot of people out there that have two ledgers and they want to know how to do this. And I think one of the reasons why we had a guy last week, I'm sorry, that was asking us, he had somehow lost his Bitcoin wallet. And he kept talking about sending it from one ledger to another or from the Chrome to the Live, and I was confused. And as it turns out later, he mentioned that he had two different ledgers, and the reason he had two ledgers is because in the manager he could only add like 3 crypto assets, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoins, for example. And then it told him that it was full. So we went out and bought another one. And then he used that for the other altcoins that he wanted to add because he said he ran out of room. Well, that makes perfect sense to me. But as you know, and as I've mentioned before, you can shuffle the apps on and off, right? Let's do that. But it is a pain, right? I find it very tedious that the ledger won't just hold, you know, it only holds 4 or 5 apps at the most, sometimes only 3 or 4. And that's a real pain in the butt, you know, that you have to like go in and add one app and, you know, delete one app and add another. So I guess a lot of people are just buying a second ledger so that they could keep, like, say, I'm going to keep Bitcoin, I'll say Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin on this one. And then I'm going to put Monero, Tron, Stellar, and XRP on this one, right? Maybe that's why people are doing that. And if you do it that way, then it should be fairly straightforward to keep the accounts straight in your head, because you'll know that, okay, this is the ledger that has my XRP and Stellar and Monero, and so I use those accounts with this ledger, and then the Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin are on this ledger. It's possible, all right? Saves you from shuffling apps, I guess. Let's see where we are. Yeah, I don't know that I brought up the civil war with Bitcoin Cash, and that was a big part of the crypto market crash this week. Uh, let's see if I can find some. Oh, well, apparently one of them surrendered, I guess. This was a very odd occurrence, okay? When Bitcoin Cash was created, uh, they forked off and they created a brand new cryptocurrency called Bitcoin Cash. And when that happened, the new fork was established and everyone agreed. You know, the developers had a difference, but Bitcoin stayed Bitcoin, and the people that thought that the blockchain underlying code should change and adapt or adopt or whatever became Bitcoin Cash. And anyone that had Bitcoin got Bitcoin Cash. It was pretty straightforward, and it was kind of a boom to people that had Bitcoin, because all of a sudden now you had Bitcoin Cash. It was like free money. But this Bitcoin Cash hard fork was a different animal. If you're familiar with Monero, the Monero coin has hard fork updates quite often. And when that happens, Monero stays Monero, but the code and the mining algorithms change, right? And you have to update your wallet and you have to update your miner and everything, but at least it's still Monero. But it doesn't split, really. But this Bitcoin Cash thing was, okay, we want to fork Bitcoin Cash, and we're going to fork this way, and the other guys forked that way, but they didn't really agree. It was kind of, they were fighting it out, and it was a competition to see who was going to get the most hash power and become the go-to Bitcoin Cash solution. And so they were competing against each other, and neither Bitcoin Cash basically ceased to exist, and it just split into two, and then no one agreed which, you know, it wasn't like Bitcoin Cash stayed Bitcoin Cash and then they invented this new one called Bitcoin Cash Plus. They took Bitcoin Cash and just obliterated it and split it into two and said, now you guys have to decide which one is the real, you know, successful one. And that caused a lot of confusion. It caused a lot of bad blood, and it caused a lot of people to lose confidence in Bitcoin Cash. And then it caused people that weren't familiar with all this to lose confidence in the entire cryptocurrency market. And Bitcoin suffered, you know. And it's weird because why would Bitcoin suffer? Because the guys that developed Bitcoin Cash, you know, had a falling out and, you know, screwed up their currency. You know, currencies die all the time. So I don't know why it had such a horrible effect on the entire market, but it did. Yes, John. Bitcoin Cash doesn't exist. It's now a war between BSV and BAB. I like this. I can get it. The Aussie scam and the felon roller Rajler Jihan scam, right? Oh, thanks, guys. I like the Q&A live stream. Maybe I should do more. I enjoy them. I have a white paper on the pizza edition. Going to add another black one from your link. They're now on sale half price. Wow. So guys, that link, I was not aware that they were half price. I should have waited and bought my Nano White on Black Friday. Oh, and now it says the stream's okay. If you just scroll down a little bit to the description, I have a link there to the white paper edition. If you click that link, it'll take you. You can buy either one. You can buy the black or the white. It doesn't matter. The link takes you to their Nano page. as you can see, if I scroll down here, I had another. Yeah, it's the same as the regular affiliate link. And I appreciate it, guys. They pay me in Bitcoin, and, you know, I get around 30, 40, 50 bucks worth of Bitcoin every month. I can't complain. And I believe in the product. I was doing videos on Ledger Nano way before I started throwing this link up. I found out later, you know, hey, you know, you should, you know, you do a lot of videos on Ledger. Maybe you ought to throw some affiliate links up. So that's that. And so our some Q&A. Let me see if there's any outright questions that I can answer. Ledger will keep the Chrome, right? Or we have to switch to live altogether? Okay, so that's a pretty good question. XRP is asking about can you still use the Ledger Chrome apps? And you can. All you really have to do is just go Ledger Chrome, right? If you just Google it, it'll take you to their download page for the Ledger Chrome apps. So if you want to use the Chrome apps, you can, right? On the same Ledger, even if you've been using Live, I can still switch over to the Chrome apps. So like for instance, we're running Chrome over here on the live stream. I've still got the apps on there, right? I can still go to the Ledger Bitcoin wallet, and it's not as good, right? So it doesn't tell me, hey, dude, you're not in the Bitcoin app, right? Like the Live does. I have to realize, oh, the reason it's not loading is because I'm not in the Bitcoin app. So, but anyway, I can go to the Bitcoin. I'm going to go to SegWit, and I can view my Bitcoin balance in there, I think. Oh, didn't I already do this? Okay, let's try again. SegWit. Huh. Well, maybe it's not going to work. I'm pretty sure it will work. I don't think it has any... I'm just glitching tonight for some reason. Because I know I have some SegWit Bitcoin. I'm going to go in and out again. Let's try again. Let's try... Let's go Legacy. What the hell? Maybe it'll work. I don't know why the SegWit wasn't working, but it should. Right? So there. You know, see, it still works. Still has my accounts. That's the legacy. There's not much in it, but as you can see, there's like a transaction history, and it still works, right? And live, right? Let's see. We'll go to Bitcoin legacy. That's that same. Oh, sorry. Oh, what were we looking at? This one, right? It's the same one. Did it say it was worth 2 on the other one? I don't know. But it's the same account, right? Same transaction history, everything else. So you're just looking at it's just an interface. That's all it is. But some people aren't running Windows 10. And I believe in order to run live, Ledger Live, you need to be running Windows 10. So if you're not running Windows 10, if you're running Windows 7 or Windows 8, and you can't run live at all unless you upgrade, then you might want to stick with the Chrome app. They still work, right? The only thing is they're not as good. They're probably not going to support them indefinitely. Sooner or later, they're just going to stop upgrading them and providing support. And they're a bit outdated. The Ledger Live, they work on it a lot. It's constantly being updated. And so you're better off with Ledger Live if, you know, you've got Windows 10. And you're better off with Windows 10 if you're running Windows 8. But, you know, upgrading your operating system, that's a big thing. So I get it. You know, if you've got a computer, it works just fine, it's running Windows 7, and you don't want to use Ledger Live, or, I mean, you don't want to upgrade to a higher version of Windows, then yeah, stick with the Chrome. It'll work. Okay. What's the best laptop to run Ledger Live? have a Chrome ebook and Ledger Live. Well, I don't believe the Chromebook is actually running the operating system on the Chromebook is the Chrome operating system. So it's not running Windows, so it can't run Windows software. And Ledger Live is Windows software. So I don't believe you can get it installed or run it. Even if you could get it installed, it probably won't run right. If you have a Chromebook, then you should be using the Chrome apps, right? The best laptop to run Ledger Live would be any laptop, modern laptop that is running Windows 10. And it could be anything, a Dell, a Zeus, Lenovo, whatever floats your boat. As long as it's fairly new and it's running Windows 10 without much trouble, then you can run Ledger Live on that. Oh, okay, so Grand Illusion bought 2 nanos to limit his risk in case one pooped out on him or got lost or destroyed or seized. But also remember, I think I've done a video on this. You can have multiple recoveries. You can reset your Nano almost indefinitely if you have a mind to. Just enter the pin incorrectly 3 times, and then when you get back to that original boot screen, it'll ask you, do you want to set it up as new or restore it? And then you'll restore from your 24-word recovery phrase. But if you want to set it up as new, it'll generate a brand new recovery phrase. And then you can put a whole nother set of cryptocurrencies on the Ledger Live under that 24-word recovery phrase. So all of the cryptocurrency that you had on there before the reset is still safely stored in that 24-word recovery phrase. So you could have multiple 24-word recovery phrases set up and keep them in safe places. And so if you want to mitigate risk, right, kind of spread your cryptocurrency around those different configurations. So one ledger can use multiple 24-word recovery phrases. But it's much easier and less tedious to just use 2 physical ledgers than it is to constantly reset and recover, reset and recover, reset and recover. That can get really tedious. So yeah, I mean, ledgers are great. I bought a second one because I thought it was cool. I wouldn't mind having more. It's a great little thing. Still got my Trezor, multiple pictures getting better. I haven't tried Trezor yet. They haven't contacted me. Ledger Nano hasn't contacted me. I mean, I'm one of their affiliates, and they send me affiliate updates, but they've never contacted me directly and said, thanks for the videos. I've had other companies that contact me and want me to push one coin or one exchange, or you know, I had this one company that sent me their hardware wallet, but Trezor hasn't. I would love to try out Trezor's. If I get some extra money, I'll maybe buy a Trezor and do a bunch of Trezor videos. Okay, so I like ADA. They don't support it on the Ledger yet. So if you have any ADA, you need to either store it on your exchange or use the Daedalus wallet. All right. Oh, that's Cardano. Oops. Let's do that. We want to go to the Cardano homepage, and under Get Started, they have their own wallet, right? It's a desktop-based wallet, so it needs to be on a computer. I don't know that they have any mobile Cardano wallets or not. I think maybe Exodus supports Cardano, so you could store your Cardano in Exodus, I believe. But for me, I prefer to store it in Daedalus, but I'm looking forward to it being available on the Ledger. Let's see. Is that how you spell it? Wallet. Exodus wallet. Let's see here. All right. I don't know where they tell you how many different. Here we go. Okay. Okay, here we go. So, is ADA supported? Is Cardano supported? I don't see Cardano on the Exodus wallet. So, I kind of thought that they supported it, but I guess they don't. No. So, I was incorrect there. So, Daedalus is your best bet if you have ADA. So why don't we transfer a little cryptocurrency around? Let's talk about Tron a little bit. Tron is an interesting ecosystem. It's like Ethereum and Cardano and EOS. It's got its own virtual machine, and it has its own native token. And it also has its sub-tokens. So let's, and then you can store it on your ledger. So let's get out of the Bitcoin app. All right, and let's go over to the Tron app. I'm going to go into Tron. All right. Now, if you don't have the Tron scan, software, all you have to do is Google Tron scan software, and it'll take you to this link here. It's a GitHub link that you'll want to get the latest version for your platform, right? And their website works supposedly as well, but I've never really got it to work right. So I'm just going to launch it. Oops. Tron. All right, so here it is, the Tron scan software. And, you know, you just download it and decompress it into a folder. And you don't install anything. It just runs right from the folder. You might get an objection from your Windows Defender that says that it's not registered because it's an Asian company and it's Asian software. So they don't have like the Microsoft credential on the software. So your Windows Defender will probably tell you it's like something weird. And so you just have to hit more info and run anyway. And then it'll work the first time. It doesn't bother me anymore. All right, and then so I want to go to wallet. Let me sign out. All right, let's open the wallet, and you could create a wallet and using the ledger. Actually, this create is for their just having a private key, which I'm not going to do, right? But if you want to open a wallet, let's see if Trezor's available yet. No, Trezor's still coming soon, unfortunately. You could have a key store, but we're going to do Ledger, right? So I had the app. I went into the app. The app is active, and the Ledger or the Tron scan software has recognized it. There it is. I'm going to move the chat window over here to the side so I can see if you guys are still there. All right, and so here's our Tron balance. And so how do we move Tron in, right? How do we store Tron? That's the question. How do we store Tron on the ledger? You can see I've got some stored on there now already. So how do we put more on there? All right, so let's go over to Bittrex. My nose is so itchy. I don't know if that's like a nervous tick or what that is, but just I can go all day and not have an itchy nose, and then when I'm on camera my nose just itches like crazy. Okay, so I'm gonna two-factor in, and we'll go over to our wallet, and you can see there's some Tron in there. It's not a lot, but there's some in there. Now if you don't have any Tron yet and you want to buy some, then you're probably going to need to fund your Bittrex account with Bitcoin or Ethereum, and then buy the Tron on the exchange. So, like for example, there's a BTC Tron trading pair. So if you have Bitcoin, right, and I don't, I have this 0.0. I have this. I don't even know what that is. That's probably less than a Satoshi. I don't know. But I could buy Tron if I had Bitcoin in my account, right? So you fund your cryptocurrency account with some Bitcoin that you bought maybe on Coinbase or whatever, and then you buy your Tron. And once you buy the Tron, it shows up in your wallet, right? Here's the Tron wallet. Let's say we want to make a withdrawal, right? Well, it wants an address, right? So where are we going to get the address? Let's go over to our Tron scan. Let's go down to this wallet, and we're going to go to, I can hit receive. That's one way to do it, right? And it shows me the QR code. I'm just going to copy the address into my clipboard. I think it got it. And then we'll go back over here and paste it in. Right? And there we go. And then you might want to just eyeball it, make sure it's TTUF and ZAJ4. Let's just confirm that. TTUF and then JJZA4, right? That's the address of this wallet. And that's the ledger-based wallet. That's the wallet that uses the private key that is stored on this ledger. That private key gives us access to the wallet address on the Tron blockchain, right? So now that we know we've got the right address, let's tell them how much Tron we want to send. Let's send 100. And I believe, as you can see, the total, it's going to charge me 0.03. So let's do 0.003, right? That way it'll be an even 100. We'll hit withdraw. And we need to two-factor this guy again. Whoops. All right, and then we hit that. And there it says withdrawal submitted. Right. Now we can go back to our Tron scan software, check out the wallet, and what you'll most likely see in the Tron scan is up here this little bell. It'll there'll be an alert on it, and it'll tell you, oh, you know, you just got 100 Tron. And Tron moves pretty quick. It doesn't take that long, even when you're transferring from a cryptocurrency exchange. And then you'll notice there it came in, right? It says I received 100 Tron and the balance went up, right? So that's it. That's pretty simple. That's the basic idea of any cryptocurrency transfer from one address to another. Now, every cryptocurrency has its own address scheme, you know, like if you remember, Ethereum addresses always start with like a 0x and a bunch of letters and numbers. Bitcoin addresses, some start with a 1, some start with a 3. Every, you know, and like IOTA addresses are really long, but they all have, they're all just representations of, you know, keys. They're not all 256-bit keys, but they might be. And they're just long strings of binary numbers as far as the computer is concerned. These are just mnemonic representations of those keys that are at their very heart just binary. And they're so long that, I mean, you could guess numbers, you know, through several lifetimes and never guess the same number twice. Which is why it seemed just so weird that when you create a Bitcoin wallet, it just randomly generates a Bitcoin address for you. And that's your new private key. And there are so many of them. I mean, you know, there could be millions of me's in millions of universes, in millions of lives, guessing millions of times. And none of us would get that same key. I mean, I don't know. It just boggles my mind how large these numbers are. All right, so there, we've got some Tron. Now, there are other kinds of tokens on the Tron network. For example, this Tron Watch Market. As you can see, I own some of those coins. I don't think I can buy them anymore. So if we go over here to participate, right, this is where you can buy tokens. And you can see that a lot of these they're done, right? They don't have any more tokens left. They're full. They've got finished down here. They may at some point open up sale again, but at this point you can't buy these, right? So I'm not going to buy any of these. You never, I mean, you really, if you wanted to buy any of these Tron-based tokens, you hit participate. You just tell it how much you want to buy. But anyone can create these tokens. So you really want to do your research if you want to buy a Tron token. Now, keep in mind also that at this point in time, there are no exchanges where you can actually buy Tron. I'm sorry, there are no exchanges where you can sell these tokens, right? So if you look at my account, I got 5,629 Tron Watch Market, and I can't sell those. I can't even trade them for Tron. There's no mechanism to do that yet. The only mechanism to do that is the Tron Watch Market, which is not yet active, right? They have a demo, right? They have this demo exchange where you can pretend that you're buying and selling Tron-based tokens, but it's not active yet. So that's Tron. And who knows, you know, these, you know, if you'll notice this wallet, I'm getting a lot of like spam coins, right? Maybe one of these coins might be worth something someday. Who knows? And then I can sell it on the Tron exchange. So that's Tron. Pretty cool. And then we can also do the same thing with Stellar. If you notice, I did Stellar last week. I really like Stellar. Oh, I gotta re-enter the pin. I'm gonna re-enter the pin. Ah, pooies. You can backspace on these, but it's kind of a pain. All right. So now we're gonna leave the wonderful world of Tron. Sorry, it's not focused very well, but I'll get out. All right, and then let's go over to Stellar. Right. And we can go to Stellar-based exchange, very similar to this Tron Watch Market. Let's try Stellar Port. So now this is an active exchange, right? You can go on this exchange, and then it shows that I have a Stellar balance, and it will allow me, it says I got like 6,000 Stellar. It will allow me to buy and sell any of these Stellar-based tokens. It has Stellar-based tokens, and it also has like these linked tokens. In fact, I did a video. If you guys haven't seen my latest video, how to purchase Smartlands tokens on the Stellar network. Pretty good video. And I'll mention too that this interface, if you look at it, the Stellar port, if I go to wallet, you can see that in my balances that I have some Smartlands tokens right here down at the bottom. And last week we were talking about Smartlands tokens, and the question is, well, where do you store them? Well, in this case, they're stored as a subtoken on the Stellar network, right? But I did not know at the time, but there is a Smartlands wallet, right? And the wallet is basically the same thing. So I could create my own private key if I wanted to and just manage it myself, or I could just connect my ledger and connect my Stellar app and hit this agreement, and boom, there's the Smartland based wallet, but it's basically just showing me the exact same Stellar public key. So it's just another way of looking at the same Bitcoin address, right? And you can see it has all the same tokens on there. And let's see here. Oh, SLT, right? That's it. So I have the proud owner of $40 worth of SLT. And it's funny, Glitcoin, it doesn't have any value for Glitz coins. That's interesting. Because it does over here. If I go to Glitzcoin, Glitzcoin is 1.8 Stellar. So Glitzcoin has a value on the Stellar, native Stellar network. So I don't know why it's not showing up in the Smartlands wallet as having any kind of value. But it doesn't mean that it's not there. It just means they're not calculating its value. So that's just a different way of looking. So these sub-networks, the Stellar network, the Tron network, the Ethereum network, which we've talked about before, are all ways of storing sub-tokens, among other things. That's one of the big features, is that you can create sub-tokens on the network. But you can also run DApps, or decentralized apps, decentralized applications. That really hasn't taken off, but that's the promise, right? Is the decentralized app. And that was one of the things that there was a negative news story that came out, not purposely negative, but I guess they did some kind of search or survey and found that there weren't that many DApps running on the Ethereum network. And so it wasn't really fulfilling its promise as this, this centralized, decentralized app platform. It really wasn't. I guess it really wasn't running enough DApps to warrant all the hype, I guess, would be one way of putting it. And tokens that were created on the Ethereum network through ICOs, or initial coin offerings, are under a lot of scrutiny right now. And that's another thing that's sort of blurring the lines for people. They don't know the difference between Bitcoin and an ICO, right? So you hear a lot of negative news stories about that they're cracking down on ICOs, and a lot of those crackdowns are warranted because these are like scam ICOs. But a lot of them aren't. I mean, some of them, they just said, look, you're supposed to be you act like a security, you should have registered as a security. And then they give them a fine, and then that's it, So that might be a good thing, it might be a bad thing. We'll see how that works. But I don't know. There's lots of new networks out there where you can buy and sell tokens and exchange value. And maybe the SEC will try to regulate them all. Maybe they won't. Maybe they'll just tell us that it's illegal. Who knows what's going to happen? Oh, the blockchain wallet, is it sending free Stellar? I'm glad you mentioned that, because I haven't looked at my wallet. I'm going to get rid of these tabs. I'm having tab overload here. I'll leave my Bittrex open and that open. So the question is, what about this Stellar giveaway, right? And I did a video on that, right? How to set up a blockchain wallet in order to get some free Stellar. And basically in the video, I just sort of, whoops, there we go. I just sort of explained how you set up the wallet and then request the Stellar. But there were a few other hoops you needed to jump through. So let's see. Let's go blockchain. Oops. Wow. Okay. Well, before we do that, let's start a new tab so we don't wipe everything out. All right, so I want to log into my blockchain-based wallet. It's a web-based wallet. All right, I'm going to use my password manager. All right, and I need to use my two-factor authentication, which I set up. And that's all the way down to the bottom. Okay, here we go. Ah, damn it. I missed it. No, I got it. Hey, look at that. They did send me the Stellar. Okay, so I have 100 Stellar in this wallet. Okay, so what happened was after I set up this wallet and then I went over here to Stellar, it said you need to ask us for some Stellar, and they took you through, they kind of walked you through how you did it. And but then they wanted you to verify your identity, and that I didn't even cover in my video because I wasn't aware of that until they told me I had to. Right after I requested the Stellar in an email, I thought that was it. I just thought they were going to give me the Stellar since I asked for it, but it's not, it didn't work like that. What happened was they replied to my email, and then they said, oh, if you want the Stellar, you have to verify your identity. And I was willing to do it. I was okay with it. But a lot of people were upset that, oh, it's just another scam. They just want to harvest my data. You know, it's the Uncle Sam is trying to get everybody's information that's using blockchain. So yeah, they wanted I had to use my ID, my driver's license. I had to take a selfie. I had to go through that whole identity thing. But they sent me Stellar, so I'm okay with it. You guys may not want to do that. You may not, right? But hey, and Stellar has dropped quite a bit. Not a whole lot. It was, you know, it was up around 23, 24, and now it's down to 18. But, or I'm sorry, 18 cents. But this $100 worth of Stellar is worth, I'm not saying this right, am I? They gave me 100 Stellar, right? And it's still worth $18. I mean, that's not bad. And Stellar might go up, right? So why don't we move this Stellar into our Stellar wallet? Right? We got the Stellar wallet open. I'm going to quit. Let's go back here. Let's go to our wallet. And let's copy this. That's not the wallet address, right? This is it. Right, I'm going to copy this wallet address into my clipboard. Why don't we go to this Stellar wallet? It's easier. It's a little cleaner, right? It just shows you your Stellar balance. All right, and it's in wallets under ledger. Right, it just shows me my Stellar, and then there's some transactions down here. It doesn't show me any of my sub tokens, but yeah, I've already copied this into the clipboard. Right, I'll show you one more time. Let's go back over here to our blockchain. Let's go to our Stellar. Where are we on dashboard? All right. All right, so we have 100 Stellar. Let's send it. Right? We'll send it to that address, right? That's my original Stellar. That's my Ledger Stellar wallet. And how much? Will they let me max it? Yeah, they're going to charge me. Actually, it's not that much. Oh, it's $17.88, right? So let's send 100. All right, I can't send 100. Let's send 99. Can't send 99. Let's send 98. All right, I can send 98. Let's try 98.5. I can send 98.5. Let's try 98.6. 7. 8. 9. Well, hooeyes. Let's just send 98. All right. And then whatever the description we want to do here. Wow, thank you, Motaz. If you got a question, I'll answer it here. All right, so we got the address. We got the amount. We don't need anything else. Let's hit continue. Do I want to do that? Yes. I was kind of expecting it to ask me for my two-factor authentication, but it didn't. All right, and so that should pop up to 68 lumens, right? Oh, that was it. It was 66, right? It's 67. Yeah, there it is. 98 XLM just came in. Very fast, right? Between the Stellar network. So I'm not complaining, right? The blockchain wallet, I had to set it up, and then I requested some Stellar, and they gave me some. I had to jump through a few hoops. No skin off my back, my teeth, or wherever the skin comes from. Okay, so let's see. Motaz just gave me a tip, and he has a question. I've received a BTC gift card worth 1K, and I don't know how it works. If BTC dips to 1K, that means my gift card worth 1 BTC. Let's put this question over here. All right, so the question is, someone gave him a Bitcoin gift card worth 1K. So I'm not sure. I've never seen anything like this. It's not out of the realm of possibility. There may be a private key on that card. I'm not sure. So somebody bought him a card, and they probably spent $1,000, and they got whatever that Bitcoin, $1,000 of whatever Bitcoin was at the time, whatever the price of Bitcoin was at the time they bought that card. So if they bought the card a month ago, it was probably around $6,000 Bitcoin was. So I'm not sure how we would calculate exactly how much Bitcoin is on the card, but let's just say it's 0.02, right? Bitcoin, which was worth, or 0.2, I'm sorry. Let's say it was 0.2 Bitcoin, and let's go over here to price charts. Let's go to Bitcoin. And so let's say it was 0.2 Bitcoin last week. They bought $1,000 worth, which was roughly 0.2 Bitcoin last week. Let's see how much Bitcoin 0.2 Bitcoin is worth today. So that 0.2 Bitcoin that you had last week is now only worth $881. So that Bitcoin on that card is, if you tried to cash out, is only going to net you $881. But if that gift card is Bitcoin, right, then you don't have to cash out, right? It might behoove you to figure out how to store it in a wallet somewhere. Now, there's many ways to store Bitcoin in your own wallet. We've been talking about the ledger tonight a lot, but there are other Bitcoin wallets. Blockchain, the blockchain wallet, this web-based wallet, is a way to hold and store your Bitcoin, right? I've got 0.004 Bitcoin in here right now, and you could probably take that card and however that card, the card might have QR codes on it, right? You might be able to scan the QR code with your webcam and transfer it into a wallet like this. You could even transfer that balance into a Coinbase account. Now you're going to pay some fees on it, but that might be a nice way to do it too. So if we go to Coinbase, all right, and I've never tried to do this before on Coinbase, but let me just get in here. All right, so you open up a Coinbase account, which is free, and then you go to your account and you go to your BTC wallet, which is empty right now, as you can see. I hit receive, right? And I need to send to this address, right? Right? And then I don't know, this is not really what I don't know that you can scan a private key from Coinbase, even in their app. So let's try it. You're going to have to figure out how to get the Bitcoin stored somewhere, unless you just want to hide the card somewhere and wait. You could do that too, right? All right, but let's take a look at the Bitcoin app on my phone, right? Or I'm sorry, the Coinbase app. Now let's say I want to receive some Bitcoin. Will it let me do that? Let's see. Oh, we'll go to accounts. We'll go to BTC. Look, see up there at the top, there's that little QR code. Let's see if I tap that. Oh, this is going to reveal the sending address, right? Right, and that's basically the same thing. So you'll have to. I don't know how the card works, man. You probably, I don't know if there's a way to scan the card. Scan the card may have a private key, but somewhere on the card it should give you like the private key, which you'll need to sweep into a wallet or somehow scan into a Bitcoin. So I can send or receive Bitcoin, but most likely you'll need to scan the QR code of that gift card to get that balance transferred into another wallet. But be careful, because you know, it's probably got a private key QR code on there, so you don't want to fool around and flash it around at people, because you know that's, you know, $900 worth of Bitcoin. So I don't want to steer you wrong, but basically you're going to need to find a way to transfer it into a wallet, right? If you want to cash it out. If you want to just hang on to it, just leave it on the card, put the card in a safe place, you know, safe deposit box or whatever, make copies of it, store those other places. There should be an address on there, a private key that controls that Bitcoin. Let's see. Let's look at what's everybody asking, talking about. It could be that, yeah, Calgapo is saying that perhaps the card is credited on an exchange. That's a possibility too. Yeah, it's interesting. I've never heard of such a thing, a gift card. But my thinking is that it might be like a paper wallet, where, you know, you get a paper wallet and it has 2 QR codes on it. Let's go to bitaddress.org. Right. If we go to bitaddress.org, it's gonna generate a paper wallet for me. Give me a second here. All right. Boom. Okay. So take a look at that gift card. Don't show it to anybody else. Don't hold it up to your webcam. But just take a look at that gift card. And if you see something like this on there, you'll see you've got a private key and you've got a public key. See, this is the secret part. That is the address you'll somehow need to get swept into a wallet, whether it's a phone-based wallet or an exchange-based wallet, or I don't think there's any way to do it on a ledger, right? But you can do it in Electrum Bitcoin wallet. Electrum Bitcoin wallet, once you install it on your computer, it does have a function that allows you to sweep in a private key from a paper-based wallet. And if your gift card is similar to this, if it's like a paper-based wallet on a gift card, then you'd have to do it that way. Or, as someone else mentioned, it could be like tied to a specific exchange. I would look at the instructions on the card, and if there are no instructions on the card, then you should ask the person that sold it to you, you know, how's this thing work, you know. Yeah, there you go. You know, it's a hard wallet. It's a paper wallet or a card-based wallet, and it's got the Bitcoin is stored on there. It's not going anywhere. But if you want to sell it for cash, then you're going to need to move it somewhere like an exchange or a wallet. But that's cool. I'm happy for you that someone gave you, you know, $1,000's worth of Bitcoin. And I'm sure it'll be worth more than $1,000 if you just hang on to it for, you know, for a while. Maybe not next month, but eventually. If BTC goes to 10,000, your gift card will probably be worth $250. Oh, if Bitcoin goes to 1,000, is that 1,000? Yeah, yeah. Let's hope Bitcoin doesn't go down to 1,000. Right. Yeah, and Todd has good advice here. Don't leave your crypto on the exchanges. I try not to. I have some, but the bulk of my holdings are in my own wallet, whatever type of wallet that you use. And always make sure to have backups of your wallet, right? If you have a ledger, know where that 24-word recovery sheet is. You set it up when you set up the ledger. Always know, if someone says, where is that 24-word recovery phrase for your ledger, you should say to yourself, it's right where I left it, and not, oh, I think it's in a drawer somewhere. You know where those backup phrases are. Keep them, you know, in a consistent place that you can get to them if you need them. Because basically that's where your crypto is, in those backup phrases. Seed phrase, they call it. So a few people have jumped in. Oh, I see. Oh, Montez. Oh, okay, here we go. When I try to activate him from Atlas Quantum, it says you need to wait till the end of the year. Oh, it's an Atlas Quantum. But still, I mean, it's a great gift. You know, like I did with that, you know, if I was willing to go through all that hassle for 100 Stellar, you should be, you know, okay with jumping through a couple of hoops to, you know, gain access to that, you know, $1,000 worth of Bitcoin. That's really cool. You know, I think that's a cool gift. And best of luck to you. I hope you find the best place to store it and you learn a little something in the interim. Yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. You guys have been great, again, as usual. I'm sorry if I didn't get to your specific questions. I hope that you enjoyed the live stream. And I didn't talk about Uphold. Oh, yeah, Uphold. Uphold is another web-based wallet where you can store cryptocurrency. I don't know if you can sweep private keys in on Uphold. You might be able to. Maybe we'll explore that a little next week, because I do have an Uphold wallet, and we can talk about Uphold next week. Well, somebody asked me about it earlier, and I never got to it. I apologize. But we'll get to it one of these days. Oh, and if you want, there's an Uphold. Uphold. So I've got about 3 Uphold videos. You can just sort of go to my homepage, my whoops. You can go to my channel page and just search for Uphold, and I got 3 different videos on Uphold. Oh, and I wanted to mention to you guys, some of you that if you look at my videos, my there's just been a flippening on my YouTube channel. And the flippening was that my most viewed video has been dethroned. My most viewed video was how to buy Bitcoin on Coinbase. And now my most viewed video is how to move Google Authenticator to a new phone. So for whatever it's worth, you know, Google Authenticator is a great way to secure your online accounts. If you're not using two-factor authentication, you should be. And I like Google Authenticator, but there's another one called Authy that works as well. But use two-factor. The text base is not as secure. The text base can be intercepted if an attacker gains access to your phone number. So if you use two-factor authentication that's text-based, make sure that your phone provider, that you have a PIN or a security password or something that the guys there know, so that just some Yahoo can't call up and pretend to be you and get the phone number transferred to their control. Right? That's a social engineering attack on your phone number. A hacker or attacker or scammer will call your cell phone provider and pretend to be you, and they'll give them some sob story about how you changed phone numbers and you lost your phone and you need to transfer your number to another place, and they'll steal your phone number. And then when you get text-based two-factor authentication codes, it'll go to them. So lock down all of your accounts with two-factor authentication. Lock down your cell phone accounts with PINs and passwords. Be safe out there, guys. Once again, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again next week, guys. Don't forget, every Friday night, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, there's a live Q&A from LA, same time. I hope to see you guys there again. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, I would appreciate it. When you subscribe, there's a little bell that will allow you to be alerted whenever I post new content. Once again, thanks for joining me, and hope to see you again soon.